Latest industry study surveying folks in terms of how they feel about retirement and asking them just some simple questions about some of the things that they may run into later on in their lives when they are retired yielded some mixed results. So we're going to talk about the survey. It's Fidelity Investments 2021 State of Retirement Planning Study. Next up here on the program, Dollars and Cents. Welcome back to the program where we help you try and make some sense out of all of life's decisions involving your dollars. My name is Joel Garris. I'm a certified financial planner, certified financial fiduciary with Nelson Financial Planning, where our team of certified financial fiduciaries stands ready this week to help you change your life with a successful and cost-effective financial plan. So on the positive side, the 2021 State of Retirement Planning Study showed that more than 8 in 10 Americans indicate that the events of the past year haven't necessarily impacted their retirement plans. That's really great to hear. That means that a lot of people didn't, ultimately reshuffle their portfolio a year or so ago, sort of at the peak panic time of the pandemic. Hopefully that means then that they've all kind of enjoyed this increase in the markets and seen the corresponding increase in the numbers in their retirement. So that's good. It's more than 8 in 10 say it hasn't really impacted. That is the good news. With another 1/3 of boomers, simply saying, it'll just take 2 or 3 years to get kind of back on track. So 82% still very confident about their retirement goals. So that's the good news. So we got confident people that don't feel like they have gotten sidetracked as a result of the pandemic. But consider some of the other findings that suggest that their confidence might very well be misplaced. And there's 4 findings that we want to share with you on the study today. So bear with us because we're going to read them. Number 1, when asked how much someone should save for retirement, only 25%, that's 1 in 4, of respondents accurately indicated that financial professionals recommend having 10 to 12 times, that's a good general rule of thumb, your last full year of working income by the time you reach retirement. So only 1 in 4 got it right in terms of how much money they actually need in order to engage in retirement. Here's the even more disturbing part of that same question. Half of all respondents, 50%, 1 and 2, thought that the figure would only be 5 times or less. Folks, that's not going to work. If you think you need just 5x your income, your annual income to go into retirement, you're going to have a problem. So that's a big misconception that needs to be corrected and underscores maybe the confidence that Americans have in their retirement plan might very well be overstated, especially if you got half the folks thinking they only need 5x their annual salary, and the reality is you need probably more like 10 to 12. Again, that's a general rule of thumb. It depends, of course, on lifestyle, what you want to do in retirement and things like that. But let me assure you, in order to have a better retirement, you would shoot for more than the 10 or 12 times your annual salary, and 5 times is not going to cut it. So that's a disturbing understanding or misunderstanding that Americans have out there as it relates to retirement. Number 2, nearly 1 in 3, 28%, I guess you could actually argue that that's more like 1 in 4, but so be it. It makes it sound better when you say 1 in 3, right? 28% said that financial professionals would recommend a withdrawal rate of 10 to 15% of retirement savings per year. Folks, if you're thinking that you're going to be able to withdraw 10 to 15% per year and have that account actually last for the entirety of your retirement, you've got a problem. Most financial professionals generally encourage a withdrawal rate of between 4 and 6%. We're actually going to be kind of talking a little bit about that in our next segment when we go talk about some of the factors to determine your ideal retirement withdrawal rate to be used in retirement. But I can assure you, it ain't 10 or 15%. That's a bad misconception that folks have. especially when most folks in the financial industry typically recommend between 4 and 6. 10 and 15 is not 10 to 15%. Wow, that's, yeah, you're going to run out of money there. I know how that one's going to play out. Number 3, most respondents underestimated the cost of out-of-pocket health care for a couple in retirement, with 37% guessing between 50 and 100,000. In fact, here's the real number. For a couple retiring at age 65, the actual cost throughout retirement for healthcare is in fact 3 times larger, estimated to be $295,000 according to research. So watch out for making sure that you are properly budgeting exactly what the expenses are going to be in retirement. If you're thinking healthcare is only going to cost you 50 to 100 grand, yeah, you got another thing coming. It's probably going to cost you 3x on that. And then lastly, on some of these findings that we found particularly disturbing, given how confident people were and the fact that that confidence may very well be misplaced. Number 4, as for the impact of divorce on Social Security, 63% of respondents think a former spouse has the ability to reduce their monthly benefits. That's not true. One Social Security's benefits is never reduced if an ex-spouse claims their Social Security on your record. So an important distinction to note as it relates to the Social Security and how claiming strategy certainly affects. So some pretty disturbing conclusions on that. The study also found much greater concern for women over men, particularly some disturbing trends among divorce rates that are among older couples, and also, of course, longevity. The reality is that women live longer than men, so we'll share with you those statistics as well. So for couples, women aged 55 to 64, the divorce rate has tripled since 1990. For women aged 65 and older, the divorce rate has increased 6-fold, 6x. Factor in the fact that women live longer than men, and that's a pretty bleak picture. The study determined that that as of now, women comprise 74% of solo households over age 80 and above. So some even more disturbing statistics when you look at it more from the female perspective. Here's the reality. A couple of things, a couple of tips that we would share with females specifically out there, particularly as it relates to these disturbing trends and statistics. Number 1, get involved with the finances. I think that's a mistake that folks often make, is they don't really get involved with the finances and they sort of leave it to the partner. It just amazes me how every week somebody comes in and says, well, now I have to deal with this because my husband used to deal with it. And the reality is that you will be more comfortable in dealing with it and have a better understanding of it if you're sort of learning it and doing it along the way, paying bills, knowing what's out there, knowing what debt, what the cash flow looks like, money coming in, all those kinds of things. The more that you can inform yourself about that, the better shape you will be in. And then number 2, make sure that along the way you are also planning for your finances as well, that if you're saving for a retirement account as well. In today's world, even though you may not be working outside the home, you can still do something called a spousal IRA that allows you to contribute money to a retirement account regardless of whether you have your own W-2 or work outside the home. So understand that there are definitely some options that you've got to be able to fund your retirement as well. Don't just rely on all the retirement dollars going into the husband's account. The reality is that these issues are particularly unique to women, especially with that 6-fold increase in divorce if you're over age 65 and older, 6-fold increase since 1990. For folks over 65 that have experienced divorce. So some alarming trends on that. The important thing is make sure you know and you have a handle on your finances. Don't be blind to that, and then make sure you're also funding your own retirement along the way. Speaking of funding your retirement, once you have funded your retirement, what are some of the factors to use for determining the right retirement rate, withdrawal rate? We're going to talk about that coming up next here on the program, Dollars and Cents, after these messages.